Miss Lauren, and today I'm going to talk to you about fractions, something that we've been learning about this unit. So I need you to bring your eyes over to our objective board before we get started. So today I will understand how to compare like and unlike fractions. I'll know I've got it when I can identify the greatest and the least fraction. So let's get started. We're going to start with like fractions. When fractions are alike or like, they have the same denominator. Now remember, the denominator is the number that's on the bottom. So here I have 2/4 and 3/4. When I compare, I'm looking for what's greater and what's least. When I have like fractions, all I need to worry about is the numerator. Remember, the numerator is that number on top. And which one is bigger? Well, I have 2/4 and 3/4. So if I look at 2 and 3, which number is bigger? 3. So 3/4 is my greater fraction. Remember, when we're making our greater sign, that big open end is the one that points to the bigger fraction. Now we're going to move on to unlike fractions. So now I have 1/3 and 1/4. Our denominator, that bottom number, is different. These are unlike fractions. When I have unlike fractions, I have to look at the numerator. And in this case, my numerator is the same. I have 1/3 and 1/4. When my numerator is the same, then the greater fraction is going to be the one that has the smaller denominator. So look at the denominators. I have 3 at the bottom here and 4 at the bottom here. Which one do you think is the smaller number? It's 1/3. Good. So that is my greater fraction. Remember, that big end of your greater sign points to the greater fraction. Finally, we're going to get to unlike fractions with different numerators. These are the ones that are going to take a little bit more time. So let's check our fraction. Check the denominator first, the number on the bottom, and is it the same or different? I see 3 here, and I see 4 here. So it's different. So these are unlike fractions. Well, my next step is to check the numerator. I have 2 here, and I have 3 here. So not only is my denominator different, so is my numerator. So in this case, I have to use my multiplication to create equivalent fractions with the same denominator. So let's check out our denominators here. Now the trick for knowing what to multiply by is that you always multiply the other fraction's denominator. So here my denominator is 3, and I'm going to multiply it by 4. 3 times 4 equals 12. Now whatever I do to the bottom of a fraction, I have to do to the top of a fraction. So I just multiplied by 4 on the bottom. I now have to multiply by 4 on the top. So 2 times 4 is 8. So 2/3 is now 8/12. Remember, that's my equivalent fraction. So I'm going to write my new fraction, 8/12, down here. This time, with 3/4, remember, I'm multiplying by the other fraction's denominator. So the other fraction is 2/3. I'm going to multiply 4 times 3. And 4 times 3 is 12. But whatever I do to the bottom of a fraction, I have to do to the top of a fraction. So now I'm going to multiply by 3 on the top. 3 times 3 is 9. So 3/4 becomes 9/12. Let's go ahead and write our new fraction here at the bottom. So what I did was I turned two unlike fractions with different numerators into like fractions. Can you remember why they are like fractions? Because of the denominator, right? Our denominator is the same. Now it's easy to compare, because when my denominator is the same, all I do is look for the bigger numerator. Remember that numerator is the number on top. I have 8/12 and I have 9/12. What is the bigger numerator? 9. So 9/12 is my bigger fraction. Now if I were going to go back to my original fractions, 2/3 and 3/4, 3/4 is my greater fraction. Remember that greater sign points to the greater fraction. So just to recap, let's start at the beginning again with like fractions. When they are like fractions, I look for the bigger numerator to find the greater fraction. When I have unlike fractions, I have to check the numerator. If the numerator is the same, the greater fraction is the one with the smaller denominator. And finally, if I have unlike fractions with different numerators, I have to make them into equivalent fractions with the same denominator. So I'll multiply by the other fraction's denominator to get equivalent fractions with the same denominator. And then I just look for the bigger numerator. So that's it for comparing like and unlike fractions. Hopefully now you can identify the greater fraction and the least fraction. Thanks, guys.